Continuing that Highway 93 journey in Ely, Nevada, as we've got our tickets to the Nevada Northern Railway. And we're going to experience what it's like to ride the rails just like those miners and the people in this community used to do on a daily basis. Welcome everyone to Weekend Escapades. Today we are going on the Ghost Train in Ely, Nevada. We're getting ready to take off. As you can see, the cars are right behind me. This will be our train for the day. Definitely an older train, and not the steam engine. But for today's tour on a Saturday, it's old 204, the Nevada Northern Railroad Company. There it is. So in reading the Nevada Northern Railway, it marks a living history book of Nevada's once abundant copper operation. So this railroad itself dates back to a very early 20th century as a means of transportation. Open air car. And of course the club cars or the indoor cars. Looks like there's going to be a couple of cars on this one that are indoor. And that's the extent of the train that's going up the canyon. So the same rail lines that we're going to be traveling on used to move large amounts of copper that were being mined from southern central Nevada. It looks like we're getting ready to board the train, and this is what I always wait for.
All aboard!
I was waiting for that.
Take these. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you.
Black car, open car.
So this is going to start our 20-mile round trip. It's 10 miles from Ely to Keystone, and then we're going to turn around and come back. And we are said to have a great journey, as this is going to be a clear sky and a lot of things to see on the trip. This train rides cost about $40 a ticket. They do season rides, so they do something during Christmas with a holiday ride, and they also do a haunted train ride during Halloween. These are all different variations of cars. These are ore cars, dump cars. Different years and different uses.
We'll like to keep our cameras inside.
So I've just been informed that I can't put the camera out the window, and I don't want to get ejected from the train, so we'll just listen to the rules. One thing for sure on these old cars, you get a significant amount of rocking on the car. So almost like the age of the car, because I've been on a couple of trains and they didn't rock like this one, but this one is significant for sure. So we're going to be heading through the first of two train tunnels on the way up.
Our train light, but I didn't know it came up like this.
You can see the top of the tunnel is very black from all of the exhaust from the trains.
And the tunnel.
Smell of diesel in here is terrible. All the exhaust is trapped in the tunnel. I don't know if you can hear me or not, hopefully. Little creek running down there. And another tunnel that's going to go into the highway and switch sides. So what we're going to be going through is a modern tunnel. The last one was a 1907 tunnel. So that one actually went through the mountain. This is a newer tunnel that goes under the highway. It was constructed, of course, more modern day.
So a little more about that creek that was running. We found out that creek actually runs to Ely. And right when that creek hits the red light district of Ely, it goes into a pipe underground. Now, that pipe is so old, they have no idea if it's metal or if it's a wood pipe. So they're going to be digging up Ely and working on the roads and try to find out what's going on under town and where that water is headed to. Now, this is information we learned on the train. So if anybody local is watching this video, please let us know in the comments below. But it sounds like they're going to be digging up the main street.
Now they say that location right there is where the Boston mine was. And of course, the red dirt is from iron. They say it's no more than just rusty dirt, but that is the location of the Boston mine. So this is Lane City, where we were earlier, or Mineral City. You'll see those are the buildings that we explored. And also the old school coming up right there. Kind of a good view of that in the distance on a rocky train. It almost looks like an outhouse along the railroad track. It could be. You never know. Old tractor in the distance. And this is probably part of the mining operation that they had. Some kind of warehousing and things going on. Could have been farming. They didn't really mention on the tour what this would be. But that being said, it definitely has seen better days. It looks almost ghost town-esque. Look at those hills in the background where they've just scraped it dry and mined this area. There's a lot of old trucks out there. It looks like they're just rotting away. Barely see the tops of them over the ravine there. It's a shame how many old vehicles are just rotting away out in the desert when you can probably could have restored them, but they've probably gone too far to be able to do that. We've found hundreds of them that are just so old and can't be restored. There's another old car behind that shed out there as well. There's a mining operation there. There was a mine. You can see it on the hillside. Wood out in front.
Since we're on a historic rail line, a little bit more history. The original Nevada Northern dates back to 1905 when it was created as part of the Nevada Consolidated Copper Company. And this served the many mines of the Ely area. And many of those mines were passing now.
Rocky.
Now the railroad was completed from Cobre, Nevada to Ely in September of 1906 at a distance of nearly 140 miles. And I hope I said that correct. C-O-B-R-E, Cobre. Seems like it to me. All right, so moving on down the rails, we are headed to Ruth, Nevada, which is just a few miles up the highway from Ely. On this rocky train, as you can see it back and forth, you can tell it is dated. It's hard to stand up when you're walking down those the center aisle, I guess, between those chairs. You better hang on. Now, this area we're coming up on here is a facade of the Old West, a cemetery in some Old West towns, and a gallows with a noose hanging right on top right there. But this is where Old Ruth used to be, a ghost town. But you can see the mining behind it has now devoured what was a ghost town. And New Ruth is just up the road about a half a mile from here. And that town is just a quiet little town located right against that mining hill. And I mean the mining is in people's backyards, literally. Now this graveyard and this little facade of an Old West town is used during the haunted train ride around Halloween, and they have actors and things out here. But one thing we were told is actually the shop foreman and his cat were laid to rest in that cemetery. The ashes were put there. So somebody does actually, I guess, occupy this old cemetery.
These are old rail cars upside down. So this railroad journey is very interesting. So mining communities on both sides. A lot to see on the way down. Again, you got to go from one side to the train to the other. It's an out and back, so it leaves Ely, goes up to New Ruth, and then back down. And this is the trip back down. Just a few more shots of the tunnels. For some reason, I absolutely love going through the tunnels on this train, and I thought this was some great footage right here of the inside of the original 1907 tunnel. Something about the sound of an old train going down the tracks. So let's just enjoy it, and we'll see you inside the shop. Here we are inside the shop, and they store a tremendous amount of old steam locomotives in here and a lot of other equipment as well. Exciting. You know, you see these in other videos and going down the tracks, but when you're up next to these things and realize how huge they are, just to maintenance this thing and keep all these parts lubricated, look at the metal on this. And obviously, you know, obvious stuff for me is the steam and what powered it. But these big rails then, of course, power the giant locomotive wheels that are there. Those are huge. And now that I see these, that's what I was looking at on the floor before. I didn't know they were that big. Those are massive. Those are all 4 feet tall. You can see here, like, burnt coal laying down in there. Look at this switch to pull on here. I mean, that's going to take a little effort. There's the coal car there. Got massive chunks of coal in there. Of course, the protection from the person who's the engineer. All they've got is that couple of curtains. I'll see as much as I can, and we're not supposed to climb on them. There's the shovels to scoop the coal. These run modern day, but they haven't changed the way they operate. I hope you're as fascinated by this as I am, but look at the internal workings of that. I guess that's some kind of leaf spring that's in there. Never been able to get this close to one that's actually one that's operational. Franklin reverse gear. There you go. There's the gear that makes it go in reverse. Look at this here. This is a wrecking crane. Gosh, look at the size of this. As if the trains aren't big enough, this is a wrecking crane that would probably pick up cars if they fell off the tracks, or the engines if they needed to. That is all part of the gearing and motor system on this. The light coming through the windows is really glaring, so I hope you can see it okay, but look at the size of the crane. Looks like there's 2 crane heads on there, or 2 different hoists, or whatever you call them. The actual metal on these is so huge, you couldn't even put these things together. It's so much effort. Tool car. Those are big spools, cable spools that you can see that are inside here. So huge cable spools. The metal is the tin that held the walls, made that car. This is obviously a newer locomotive here, old 201. Massive. The decking on this is, see how thick that is. It's about a good solid inch. This is about 2 inches thick and all riveted. Massive. It rotated right there, so this is the crane pivot, where that crane would rotate left and right. It's all big round housing where that sat and rotated. And it says this one was a 1907 Industrial Works of Bay City, Michigan. And this is a steam-powered wrecking crane. 102 tons is the weight empty, dry weight. And the lifting capacity, 100 tons. There's another angle of it from here. Maybe you can see it a little better without the light shining through the windows. All right, so we are back at the station, as you can see. And I'd like to remind you to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, as it helps keep the channel strong, and it costs absolutely nothing to do so. This is Rax. Now, this is a great restaurant and lounge right here in Ely, and they make the most amazing burgers. And hey, the cold beverages aren't bad either. And there's us smiling back at you. Now, be sure to go out to the channel and check out the fan club that's available if you're interested in joining. And until our next adventure, goodbye from Weekend Escapades, and we'll see you in the next one.